And welcome once again to Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr, joined as always by Juan Zarate, our national security analyst. Juan, good to see you.
Bob, always great to see you.
A lot to talk about. Let's start with the topic of Mali and Algeria and the whole tentacles of AQIM, Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. What's going on there?
Well, you have a real fight going on between France and the West African forces and the Malian forces against Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. You have the French gaining the upper hand, taking back Timbuktu along with the Malian forces. But the reality here, Bob, as we've talked about often, is you have an al-Qaeda movement that has been energized by factors in the region. Arms coming from the Libyan fall of Muammar Gaddafi, funding in the millions of dollars coming from the ransoms that they've gotten from Western countries, the hostages they've taken, and then just the instability in the region, the coup in Mali, the open space, the lack of security in North Africa, and a movement that has really taken advantage of that open space physically and ideologically. And so this is a fight that is for real. It's not going to go away overnight. And even though we've seen great progress by the French, led by the French, the question will be, can the French and the Malians contain this threat and retain the territory that they've taken back?
Just to be clear now, is this, in your opinion, the new center of gravity for Al-Qaeda writ large? I mean, I know this has been the neighborhood for AQIM, the kidnapping branch of, if you will, for Al-Qaeda. But is this kind of like the new center of gravity there?
Well, I think you have to view it that way in some ways, just because there's so much activity. The branches of AQIM are scattered. We had the attack in Algeria, led by Belmokhtar, which is a part of Al-Qaeda Islamic Maghreb. So this is a lethal group. It has geographic expanse. They've controlled territory, lots of arms, lots of money. That said, I don't think you can view this as the only hotspot. Don't forget Yemen, don't forget Somalia, don't forget Central and South Asia. There are pockets of that can flare up very easily and quickly. And keep in mind, this group has existed for years, officially forming in 2006 as part of the Al-Qaeda network. So these are branches and formations of this Al-Qaeda network that can emerge given factors. And so, yes, it's the hotspot now, but it's not the only hotspot we should worry about.
The French effort in Mali, can that be sustained, and what is the end game here? Where does Al-Qaeda go? Where's the next potential safe haven?
Well, keep in mind that when Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb formed in 2006, Ayman al-Zawahiri, now the leader of Al-Qaeda, said that he wanted the group to be the bone in the throat of the French. And then Sarkozy later declared war on Al-Qaeda there in North Africa. So this is a long-standing conflict. The French have been at the heart of this. This is right in the heart of French colonial Africa, and they have an interest in seeing this through. That said, what does that mean? Because you're not going to see French ground troops occupying Mali for years on end in Afghanistan style. And so the French are very much looking for the West African countries to coalesce, to control territory, and to maintain momentum against Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. This is going to be months, if not years, to get a handle on this threat in the region. And I think Al-Qaeda is going to sort of retreat, retrench, and then engage in insurgency as we've seen in other places.
And finally, as we wrap up this topic, we keep hearing the administration, the president himself has said, we're going about the business of dismantling Al-Qaeda. We made great inroads. I don't think anybody would dispute that's true. But Al-Qaeda is not out of business here.
Not at all. And what you have is a little bit of a disjuncture between a discussion about the old Al-Qaeda, the Al-Qaeda core that was based in Afghanistan, Pakistan, which we've decimated, there's no question. But the Al-Qaeda of 2013 is one that has metastasized. It's driven by these regional affiliates and by no stretch is sort of off the radar. This is also difficult for the administration because we talk about the decade of war ending or the tides of war receding. It's hard to say when you've got all of these conflicts sort of festering and emerging in North and West Africa, and Syria, and Somalia, Yemen. So it's a difficult line to take. But watch the U.S. presence here, because behind the scenes we're going to be helping, I think, with intelligence, with surveillance and reconnaissance. And keep in mind, this is an administration that has put troops on the ground in the heart of Africa to go after Joseph Kony. If the French or the British need us, we may see American forces in some way down the road in Africa.
Okay, it's one to watch. We'll leave it right there.
There we go.
Juan, thanks. And thanks to you for watching Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr. We'll see you here again next time.